So, anyways, today, what I'm going to talk about is I'm going to interview Steven Jackson, and we are going to talk about relationships and just basically getting along with your mate and just marriage because a lot of people are being taught that just men are taught that they should run around and date multiple women, and that's really not doing anything for the community. So I'm gonna have the guest today, and that's what we're going to talk about. Oh, by the way, if you're on Facebook, go to Dream Life by Kissy Denise. I just did a live on that page about women complaining about men. So if you're one of those women who complains about men, you definitely want to go to Dream Life by Kissy Denise on Facebook and check out that live. So, basically, I was telling them that if you're a woman and you want to get a high value man, then you cannot scream at a high value man. You have to talk to a high value man in a certain type of way. And what a lot of women don't realize is that when you complain about a man, or if you're like online and you're always one of those women complaining about men, you are basically pushing men away from you. You are repelling the good men. And most of the men who come towards you when you're complaining about men are going to be the men who want to take advantage of you. They want to take advantage of your vulnerability. They want to take advantage of the fact that you're hurt. And they realize that you're not a whole woman. So, their little fillers come on, and then they start talking to you, and then they deal with you, and you're still the same person, and then you're dealing with them, and then all this trauma happens, and then you're back to feeling like men are the same way. Okay, so mine is sideways. I gotta switch it. Ooh, okay. I hope this doesn't throw. Okay, that looks much better anyway. Hi, Stephen. How are you today?
Good. How you?
I am doing absolutely wonderful. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule to join me.
No problem. Oh,
Okay, so I just have three quick questions for you. The first question is, I saw a video of yours where you were saying, the quickest way demise of a black man is a bitter black woman.
mm.
So I'm wondering, what do you think makes black women bitter?
Well, first, I've always been a man, and I always be real about everything I talk about. We as men have to take responsibility for some part of the business. I know in my situations, in some way, I was to blame in some situations, not all of them, but some situations I take the blame for. But men have to take responsibility because somewhat we make them bitter. But at the same time, when a couple is breaking up, both split ways. You know what I mean? So and both have to move on from that. So I feel when someone is bitter, it's more of a personal thing. You know what I mean? Because we all get hurt. I mean, people die.
Uh-huh.
We lose people in all type of different ways, but we able to move on from it. And I just think bitterness comes from a place of self kind of self misery, yeah, self misery. I would say that self misery, and men and women have it, no question. Men and women have it, but I think
Hmm.
bitter women. I don't speak of all black women, and because I know women got that jumped over and just jumped on and twisted all that. I've never, if you look at the video, I've never said all black women. I'm speaking of the women that I've dated, and I'm talking
Right.
about. I've only dated black women. I've never dated outside of my race ever in my life.
Right. So we can only talk about what we're familiar with.
My experience. You know what I mean? And I have to say this too. I wasn't demeaning my kids' mothers. You know what I mean? Because I would never do that to my kids. But these are my experiences that I like to share to help other men. You know what I mean? And people have to understand it's the way to share your experiences without demeaning people.
So
And
what do you think needs to happen for women, let's just say women, to not end up being bitter? Like, does a woman have to be 100%? They are 100% responsible for healing themselves, but should men play any type of part of being wary of how they are causing women to end up bitter? Or do you feel like women should just become a higher value woman and not put up with things that would make them bitter?
Well, it go both ways. I don't feel that a man should be more careful than a woman. It's a relationship. They both should be careful. You know, I don't think a man should be held at a higher standard with how he treats a woman, and the woman, you know, it should be the same. You know, I think, especially coming from my position, you know, I just look at it as you come into a situation with so much, and
Mhm.
you know, this people don't understand how I look at situations. So let me explain this to you. My dad lived five minutes from me. My
Uh-huh.
mama never talked about him, not one time. 3 kids by him, never talked bad about him, never prayed, never asked him for child support or nothing my whole life, right? So by her never flashing my dad, as I got older, I went out and got my own relationship with my daddy because I never heard anything bad about him. Yeah, he was never around. I figured that out, but I went to search my own relationship with my father because my mama never said anything bad about him. So I built a relationship with my.
Wow.
He died, right? So
Right.
in situations like when you have kids and your kids resent you, that's not off instinct. You don't people that has wronged you in your life, you don't treat them a certain way just because you want to. They did something to you to make you feel that way. So
Right.
present you and you not be there and not be around, somebody is telling them something. You know what I'm saying? So I've been
Mhm.
the reason I can speak on this because I've been in all these situations. You know what I'm saying? I've been in a situation where this is another story. My daughters was like 7 and 5. I was playing basketball. I went home. My two oldest daughters. I went home, rented out a little amusement park for their party, and invited her mom, her family, all her friends. Where what ended up happening was, my oldest daughter came to me and said, "Daddy, I want you to have the first piece of cake." She was 7,
Aw.
so she's going to get the cake. And at the time, I wasn't with her mom. You know what I'm saying? I had moved on. This is my high school sweetheart. You know what I'm saying? I had moved on. My daughter gets up there and asks her mom for the cake. She screams at my daughter, "I said he can have a piece of cake after everyone," and just embarrasses my daughter where she starts crying and runs to me, right? So
Uh-huh.
I was a person. So my mom is a real one. So my mom took the plate for my daughter, gets up, goes and cuts the cake, and kind of nudges my kid's mother and cuts the cake, right? And as she's walking off, now again, I spent about $7,000 on this party. This was like in '05, something like that. I don't remember how long ago. But my mom walking back, she screams at my mom. I said this stuff going off of my mom, right? It was totally disrespectful. My sister's pregnant at the time. My sister, by the time she said something to my sister has one hand in the cake and one fist going to her face. Boom. My sister's
Oh my gosh.
pregnant at the time. She falls down. They get all of it. Long story short, as everything calms down, this is how I know I've always done right by my kids. And by this,
Hmm.
lets me know that I'm doing things right. Her mom brought my two daughters to me and told me to take my daughters home and finish their party at home. And all her family came and was telling me how they appreciate the father that I am and what you're doing for your kids. You know what I'm saying? Because they know the attitude. And so I've been through these type of situations before, so I've always played the high road. You know what I mean? I could be petty. And telling that story, she thought I was petty. She was real hurt by me telling the story. But I don't give a damn at this point. You know what I'm saying? Because I know I helped a lot of people, and I wasn't trying to demean her. I was just telling my story. And what some guys that might be in my position, they might need to hear that, because I value how I take care of my mama. I value how I take care of my sister. They was there with me before anything. So why would I let another woman control how I dictate on how I take care of my family and my other kids? That wasn't right. And if you love me, a piece of paper won't do anything but collect dust anyway. You know what I mean? So that was all my thoughts. It wasn't to demean her. It's just the truth. And I work too hard to let a woman control how I take care of my life or how I live my life.
Did you ask her how does love look to her? Like, what is her? Where you like communicated what was her definition of love?
Well, we couldn't have a more understanding of what was her definition of love. We had been together for 4 or 5 years. We had been living together. So we were already in love. So the definition of love was already there. We was engaged to be married. We was getting married. So I don't think what else of love needed to be understood. You know what I'm saying? And the love had to be understood enough for her, for after I called it off, for her to try to get me in the room and try to get me to marry her in the room. So it was something there. You see what I'm saying? It was something there.
Okay, so here's the thing. Like, she responded to you, and she basically said that you had 2 kids with other women while you were with her. Is that true?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay, so was that off and on again relationship, and like a break baby? Were they break babies?
I wouldn't say a break baby because I never had a baby while I wasn't in a relationship.
Okay.
So our relationship was off and on. Like, see, it's a lot that I could say and tell you, but it would seem like I'm demeaning her, and I don't want to go there. But like I said, it's a
So
lot.
basically, you're saying you were done, but they didn't identify with you being done.
We had our second child. I mean, our first child when we were off and on, me and her. You know what I mean? So, and we were really, you know what I'm saying? Like that relationship was real because my mom didn't get along with it, and she did a lot of stuff at the beginning. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? I didn't know her name for 2 years. I can say that. She know that. I didn't know her real name for 2 years.
So if you don't know somebody's real name for 2 years, like, do you
Why
feel connected to that person? Is there, like, what kind of connection is there if
well, we
you don't know them for 2 years?
connection, but the last thing I was thinking about was her line about her name. I met her mom. I met everybody.
Oh, so she told you one name when she met you, and
Yeah.
she never corrected you and told you, "Oh, this is my real name."
My mom found out.
Oh my gosh!
So that
Wow. So how did that make you feel?
it was rocky. It was a crazy situation at times, but at that point, like I'm not sure where we was at that point at that time, but I was I never let my mom control my relationship because at the end of the day, my mom is not gonna like nobody I'm with. I'm gonna keep it 100. She ain't gonna like nobody. My mom, we've been together. Mom ain't gonna like nobody. That's just what it is.
Moms don't. They be like, "You was
I don't.
taking my baby from me."
That's my mama. I don't give a damn. She ain't gotta like him. You know what I'm saying? But I take her input, but I don't let it control my relationships and stuff like that. But that situation, I'm glad she did that because women know women. Women know women. You know what I'm saying? And something about women, they can look at a woman and say and know something about it that a man won't know. You know what I mean? And
That's true, but it's not always true. And that's another question that I want to ask you. So,
oh,
you think that messes up relationships often when other people are in other people's business? Like, even the one situation where there was people in your ear telling you one thing, and there's people in her ear telling her one thing, and then the next thing you know, y'all just done and over with.
well, the thing I don't see the difference between me and her was I wasn't taking nobody's opinion or information. I was going off my own information. It was my choice to not get married without a prenup. It was my choice to call the wedding off. It wasn't nobody else's decision. It was my decision. So I don't know who was in her ear saying what they were saying, but nobody was in my ear. This was my decision. Only decision that I can make. You know what I mean? I think like people were speaking, telling me what was best for me, but none of that mattered. None of that mattered because this was my life. I chose, even with my mom and everybody telling me not to marry her, I even went that far. I was going to do it anyway, but I wasn't doing it without a prenup.
Okay, so you say the paper, if she would have signed it, it just would have mean dust to you.
Yeah.
So what did the paper represent to you? What did her signing the paper represent to you?
I just say it mean dust to me. I said it's gonna collect dust. I said it's gonna collect dust, meaning it's just gonna be there collecting dust. I
No,
didn't say the paper.
emotionally, what did that mean?
It meant everything because I'm protected. The same reason why I was getting it is the same reason why I needed it, and it came out to be why I needed it. For
So you never trust? Are you saying
not
like
married.
did you trust her at all?
Yeah, I trusted her to a certain extent. I trusted her enough to marry.
Okay. Okay, so you were actually in it for the love.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Listen, one thing about me, I wouldn't. I don't need to. I don't need a trophy wife. You know what I'm saying? I came from nothing. I'm real successful. I made it on my own, so I don't need a woman to validate me. So I would never marry for no other reasons but love. You know what I mean? I wouldn't even marry for because I got kids with you. I wouldn't even marry you. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't even be in a relationship because I got kids with you. It has to be love. I don't
So
need a woman to validate nothing I have going on.
what is it that are you in a relationship right now?
Yep.
Okay, so what did she do to make you fall in love with her and you felt like she was the one and that the love was actually real?
The one I'm with now,
Yes.
it's all about me. She don't have no motives. It's easy to see. It's easy to see she don't have no motives. We've been
How is that easy for you
we
to how is that easy for you to see? Is
we've been
that come from experience from all the past relationships? Like you're always giving people like really good advice. So from these relationships, is that how you learn to spot what a good woman actually is?
experience is definitely the best teacher, but it's easy to see here. I can give you a perfect example. I've been with her going on 5 years, and she could easily pop up with a baby or walk around here pregnant and try to trap me. She never have. That speaks volumes for a man with the success I have. Women dying waiting for me to slip up and nut in them and have a baby by them. It's just real shit. You know what I'm saying? This little shit like that you know when you got a real one. When I wake up in the morning, when I wake up in the morning for what I do for her and her daughter in this household, I wake up to a breakfast with on the tray every morning. You know what I mean? That type of stuff, and I reciprocate that. You know what I'm saying? I take care of everything. She don't work. She go to school. You know what I mean? So I play my part to a T, and I expect the same thing, and she gives me that. So that's how I know it's real. And when it's out, when I have to ask for it, that means a lot to me. You know what I mean? I've had so many people in my life buy me shit with my own money. I can buy I can buy stuff with my own money. You know what I'm saying? But it
Right.
feels good for going through quarantine and my birthday through quarantine, and none of us left the house. And I wake up in the morning and I got a big old cake in the house that she found a way to go get made. You know what I mean? So stuff with her own money, stuff like that matters to me, especially when
And
you
the
have
little things. She really thinks about you.
right.
So, my last question is I know you were saying, the paper and you take care of a lot of the people and, so people depend on you. And I know in all of sports, a lot of people, they sign those big contracts, they get millions of dollars and then they end up broke. So who gave you like what was the financial advice that you got when you first came into the league and what made you decide to actually be financially responsible and to think about your future at that length?
Well, let me tell you this. And you know, if you follow me more and more, you'll learn more and more about me, and I'm a real one. Can't no financial advisor, can't nobody do nothing for you if you have bitter women in your life, or if you been just careless with your money, partying and stuff like that. Listen, God saved me. Okay, women tried to ruin me. You know what I mean? I have 7 kids by 5 different women, and I done paid 4 out of 5 of them all of $1 million in child support. And let me ask you a question: if a man has paid you over $1 million in child support, and he owes you say 30,000 in back pay, would you try to put him in jail, or would you tell your kids y'all don't have nothing because your daddy's behind on child support 30,000 and he paid you $1 million already?
I'll be like, we good. But then again, I like making my own money and I have appreciation for
Right?
people
No, no,
who
I'm
do
not talking.
right things. Other women don't, though.
I'm not talking about you. I'm just saying in that situation.
No, I'm not saying me. I'm
Right,
saying you got to understand, I have my mindset is gratitude. So
right.
sometimes men have kids with women who are selfish. So because they're selfish, they don't have the sense of gratitude that a man is expecting her to have. because she doesn't have the perspective.
Well, I mean, God got me. I mean, I've always, when I was in those relationships and we fell out and I knew they was after money, my word was, you're going to always need me because God has blessed me. I have the favor of God and people, and that's why a lot of people surprised I'm having success with my show and all this stuff after basketball because I'm a real one. I'm not trying to be nothing. I'm not. There's a lot of people that want to see me win, and that's why I'm going to continue to win because I have God's favor. So to answer your question, no financial advisor, no class, no nothing saved me. God saved me. He kept me going. He kept me doing good things. It kept money coming in because some of these women tried to ruin me. And you know what? I don't resent none of them. You know, they great mothers with my kids. They do a great job of raising my kids. You know what I'm saying? And I do a great job of doing my part. But at the same time, if it wasn't for God, I wouldn't be here right now.
So how long have you been walking in faith?
Since I was born. I woke up singing in the. I mean, I grew up singing in church choir, going to church 2-3 times a day. I used to lead songs in church. If you know anything about me growing up in Port Arthur, Texas, I grew up in Mount Calvary Baptist Church. My grandmother and my grandfather founded that church, and I had to be there my whole life. I had to be there. It was mandatory.
Okay. So I did read a little about you, and I ran across the story about your brother, and because of your faith, you know, he was killed in that way. Um, that had to be like a very sensitive time. And as a kid, like, did you relate that to God at all? Like, how did you get through that pain?
I think at that time when that happened, I was in a dark place. Like I was running the streets while I was a teen. I was 16. I was in the middle of everything. You know, I was anything could have happened to me at that moment. You know, I could have easily run my life around that time. And
Mm-hmm.
my city was small, so a lot was going on. I think when that happened, it was the best thing that happened to me because it woke me up. It made me realize that it really could happen to me. How close it hit home.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Did that have anything? I know you said something about it just changed the way you looked at everything with your family. Like, did that motivate you to actually do what it took to get to the NBA? Was that part of your motivation?
That was a big part of it because everything I learned from my big brother. Like when I told you I seeked out my own relationship with my daddy, this is my older brother, my father's son. So he stayed with my dad. So that's why when I moved with my dad, that's when I formed a relationship with my older brother. And that's why I learned how to smoke weed. That's how I learned how to kiss girls, put passion marks on them. I learned everything from my brother. You know what I mean? So losing him really woke me up and it wanted me to make it for him. It wanted me to put my little brother in a better situation. And because my brother played basketball and all that, but it just it made me want to be different. Definitely, it woke me up. It scared me. It shook me.
Okay, okay. So one last question. I think you're amazing when you talk about relationships and, you know, just you having the sense of consciousness that you do and just really giving back to people because people listen to you. And I know you're helping a lot of people by giving out the advice that you give out. So, you have any advice for women who want to get a high value man like you who is healed and understands at this point how to treat a woman and what a good woman is and how to keep a healthy relationship?
You know what? It's hard. It's hard for me to answer those questions because God ain't through with me yet. You know what I mean? He's still working on me, and I'm trying to be a better person every day. But I just like I said on my post. I mean, I think the reason why I'm able to grow and why I'm able to embrace everything is because
Mm-hmm.
I own up to all my fuck ups. I own up to my wrongs. You know what I mean? I've done a lot of wrongs in my life. A lot of wrongs in my life. And I'm talking about with women, with the street shit, with all kind of shit, with money. I've done a lot of wrongs in my life. But for me to still be here, living a great life through all that, I know it's for a reason, and that's for me to share with somebody else. You know what I mean? To share my testimony and try to help somebody else so they won't make the same mistake. Even with my own sons. You know what I'm saying? Both of my sons play basketball, and I pray they make it to the NBA. I don't want them to go through the shit I went through. You know what I mean? And it ain't to demean their mothers at the same time. I have to keep saying that because people think I'm trying to demean my kids. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to put them in situations where I was wrong, where I made bad decisions, so the next person won't make the bad decision. And my bad decision wasn't the women. It was how I handled the situation and how the relationships went down. And I take blame for all that.
So when you say the things you say about them, you seem angry when you say it. So is your anger directed at them, or is it directed at yourself?
Well, it's not really anger. It's just truth. See, truth sound like hate to people who hate the truth.
Right.
Truth sound like hate to people who hate the truth. You know what I mean? And I'm not speaking no lies. I'm just telling my experiences. So, I mean, people can take it how they want. You know what I'm saying? Two things I ran out of
You just
is
not sugarcoating it.
I ran out of fucks to give a long time ago. You know what I mean? I have no fucks to give, but at the same time, you know, I in certain situations a man has to put his foot down at some point. You know what I mean? And if you pay millions of dollars to a store and you ain't got one package or you ain't got no appreciation, you're gonna start feeling a type of way too. You know what I mean? And that's for anything. So just imagine a child. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, you know, I always try to be the bigger person, but at the same time, I just gotta go other ways to let my kids know and people know I'm doing my part, and I've always have. You know what I'm saying? Because people can paint you. I've been in brawls when I was in the NBA. I've been in the brawl in the stands, and I've been in the shootout at the strip club. So the media can twist and paint you a certain type of way. But the fucked up part is I have one of the biggest podcasts cancer show in the world right now, and I can control my own narrative. You know what I mean? They can't say what they want about Steve Jackson no more because I can say what's the truth on my own.
You.
You know what I mean? So, but at the same time, I want to say this. I never say anything. Just like when I text you before we got on, my interviews are not to demean any woman, or definitely not my kids' mothers, because I appreciate the way they raised my kids. But at the same time, I am a great dad. You know what I mean? And everybody gonna know that point blank. You know what I'm saying? I'm not everything I do and what I've done. You know what I'm saying? I play basketball. Matter of fact, that's my second oldest. Keep calling, but I remember my financial advisor called me one time from 2000 to 2010. He called me one day and he was like, "Damn, Jack, um, I'm looking at your statements from 2000, 2010, and 80% of the money you spent has went on other people.
Wow.
80%. You know what I mean? So I'm saying that to say I was raised the old way. My grandmother never drove a car. My grandfather was a protector and provider, and that's how I've always been. You know what I mean? So regardless what people say about me, Steve Jackson gonna do his part.
Okay, okay. Well, thank you, Steve Jackson. I have had a wonderful time interviewing you, and good luck with everything. And ladies, I really hope, I think the main thing that I got from the end of this is that, fathers want to be showing a little more appreciation, the ones that are actually showing up. And I know maybe a lot of women, if the men are paying you child support on time, they are being good fathers to their kids, like maybe you should, show some type of gratitude or whatever, because men are men like to be appreciated, they like to be rewarded. So Father's Day, you don't have to wait to Father's Day to show a man some appreciation for being the type of man he is in this type of world, when, it is quite a bit kind of difficult to find a man who is doing the things he's supposed to do. So,
But it go both ways. Men, get y'all shit together too, man.
how can men get their stuff together?
Well, I mean, it starts with them. Stop lying to themselves. A man got to look himself in the mirror. You know, you might think you one person at home, but then you go out and people praising you and have you think you something else. So you live in two different lives. You live in a home life and a life outside because you want to get praised. You know what I mean? That's fake. That's a false life. You live in a character. You know what I'm saying? Look yourself in the mirror, realize who you are, and be that same person wherever you go. You know what I'm saying? Stand on what you are and who you are, and that's a great start.
I think that's amazing right there, because women are often told to turn into a different character when they get home to their man, you know, because that's reality. But you're
That's
like the first person I heard tell men to do the same thing.
right. Yeah, that's not real. Be who you are, love who you are, and I think when you in real love, you're gonna find the person that loves you just who you are, and you're gonna love her the same way. It ain't gonna have to be fake. You're gonna have to act like somebody or be a character to be around this person or make this person feel comfortable. Just be you. And once you realize who you are and look at yourself in the mirror and realize, okay, this is who I am. I don't have to be this person for that person to like me. You know what I'm saying? The right person's gonna come.
And then they just pop up.
Yep, they just happen. That's how it happened for me.
Oh, that is so beautiful. Well, I am very happy for you that, you know, you actually did find the real love that you were looking for. And I hope more people find the real love that they are looking for.
Me too.
Thank you, Steve.
All right, thank you. Have a good one. Appreciate it.
You too. Bye. So, everyone, you had to learn a lot from that interview. And I want you to take that interview and really look at it like without any judgments, and just look at it for what it is. And really, when you really just try to receive information that people are giving you, you know, you can really take it in and change your life. And that's what everything is all about. Like, it's because, you know, sometimes there is no black and white, sometimes there is like a gray area. And you know, as humans, we are all on a path, we're all on a journey, we're going somewhere. And you know, we can only do the best we have with what we have, right? So as we go on this journey, we learn to become better people, we learn to make better decisions. And if you're on a journey, you know, of God, you learn to just be a better person, because you want to connect with more people. And when you want to connect with God, you know, of course you want to connect with more people, you want to be a better person. And a better person you seek to become, the better connections you start making. But at the same time, you know, a lot of times in situations when people are overgiven, you know, people self-sacrifice themselves. So you just have to be aware of things. And you know, when people aren't giving you, sometimes you kind of feel like you need to overcompensate, right, to make up for them. So that's what this balance thing is all about. When he said like the end of the relationship, or when he finally got the one he wanted, where it was like a balance. It wasn't like anyone had to overcompensate for the other. It just goes together, because that's what real love is. Love is just, you meet and there's a balance and there's a chemistry and there's like a feeling. So anyways, that's it. Thank you everyone for joining me. I don't know when I'll do another one of these, maybe like next week Wednesday at the same time. Yeah, I'll do another one next week Wednesday at 3 o'clock. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, YouTube Kissy Denise, because this is where I will really be working at on YouTube. You know, that's like all of our like fifth office, you know. So, and if anyone needs help with their relationships and you need relationship advice, you need healing, if you've been heartbroken, or if you're a woman and you want to be a high value woman and you're a boss chick, and maybe, you know, you want to learn how to be a little more feminine and, you know, heal, connect to your heart space and find high value men. And men, if you want to get a beautiful, intelligent woman who is heart centered and she's not out to be a gold digger, she's not out to take advantage of you, and to meet the real love connection you seek, you too can contact me to work with me. But here's the thing about all of that, everyone. If you want love, you have to be love. You're not going to attract love until you become love. You have to be a very loving person and to love yourself. And that's the other thing. When you fully love yourself is when you find yourself. And then that's where you find your other half. So, bye.